You tell me Josh Naylor's back, I'll tell you he never left. Welcome to the Dom Skeen channel, your one-stop shop for the Mariners storylines on Seattle's minds. And Josh Naylor and the Mariners, 8-9, back exactly to where you thought they were going to be. And there's really not a whole lot to complain about right now. You've got to temper the excitement just a little bit, as you've got a whole lot of games, about 14, you got 14 straight days of games. And you're in the thick of it right now, really at the beginning of it, with 4 straight games. You know, this Houston series, then you go to San Diego, then you come back here. You got the weekend series, then you've got a whole another series after that. You're in the mid of not a marathon, but we'll say a half marathon, maybe more like a 10K even, you know, like 7-mile run type of deal right now. But the Mariners are doing everything you want them to do. And we look at exactly how this game panned out. This got to be the best offensive performance of the year. I know we scored more runs. We scored 6 runs yesterday. We scored 7 runs the day before. We scored 9 runs on Friday night. But I would say this is the best offensive performance just in terms of everybody did what you want them to do from that top of the lineup. All the top 4 hitters in the lineup get 2 hits. Brendan Donovan, 2 for 4, a double, and a walk, doesn't strike out. Also, no strikeouts from the top 4 in the lineup. That is a welcome sight. Cal Raleigh, 2 for 5, 2 runs scored. Everybody in the lineup had a hard hit. Put in the comments, comment question of the day. What are we going to call it on this channel when everybody in the lineup gets a hard hit? I feel like we need a fun name for that. I'm sure you guys will come up with something good. Julio, 2 for 4, 2 run score, and a double in the first inning. Really got things going on Mike Burrows early. Josh Naylor, the star of the day. His first 2 homers of the season are his first 2 extra base hits, and they come on the first couple pitches he sees in this game. First at bat, couple pitches, he just drills that thing into the stands at right field. First pitch of the second at bat, hits an absolute missile into the center field stands, way up in the J-Rod squad too. I mean, man, he caught that thing absolutely perfectly. The weather in this game, it was nicer than expected, so there was some balls flying. Even the Astros came out with a 281 expected batting average. Mariners 321, definitely the best all year. 13 hits to the Astros 7, and then 6 runs to the Astros 2. Really just got things going early, had a 5-run lead, led it back to within 3, and then tacked on another insurance run to make sure it wasn't even a save situation. So really these top 4 guys in the lineup, the story, but also Luke Raley, of course, the pregame where I say everything he hits feels like it's an extra base hit. I thought it was going to be a colder day, so somebody who really gets into them and hits no doubters, it was going to have to be the guy to hit a homer. But, I picked Luke Raley to hit a homer. He hits 3 singles. Absolutely a welcome sight. Gets that batting average way up to 294 on the season, and 914 OPS. I mean, Luke Raley he's doing exactly what you want. He doesn't look perfect. Like the one strikeout he did have, like he is whiffing on some breaking balls. That's kind of just who he's been in his career to this point. It doesn't mean it can't get better, and it doesn't mean it won't improve as the season goes along. He chooses his moments to take though, and he chooses his moments to swing. And when he does, he hits the ball hard. And he's had multiple hits both of the last 2 days. So you've got to be pretty happy with where Luke is at. Leading the team in OPS if it weren't for Brendan Donovan in all returners. J.P. Crawford, 1 for 4, keeping things going, 2 hard hits for him. Randy didn't get a hit, one of the only 2 guys in their lineup that didn't get a hard hit, but 3 hard hits. He was close to having a homer in this one. Cole Young, also JP, 2 hard hits, one of them way back at the track. He was close to having a homer late in this game. 2 straightaway center field, basically into the pen. And Cole Young even a hard hit in this game. He struck out once. Other than that, he put the ball in play quite a few times, and they didn't quite get him to fall, but his plate approach still looks good. Looks like he's experimenting when we're up in these games late in the game, which you like to see that for a young guy, being able to still play with a little bit more freeing mentality, even though he can play like he can be a close game player when he needs to be, and he always basically is. And then when he doesn't need to be, it's like he's experimenting a little bit more, which you gotta like. So Mariners strike out 3 times on the day. that's got to be the lowest of this season so far, right? 3 total strikeouts for the Mariners on the day, whereas the Astros, on the pitching side, the Mariners didn't strike out too many batters with the Astros either, but just enough, and they limited the free passes as well. We look at so Randy and Cole Young, the only guys not going to hit. Mitch Garver also finds a single and gets a hard hit. Was close to getting more than one hit as well. So, really contributions and production from everybody in the lineup today. There's not a single player who you could say had a bad game, I don't think, on the Seattle Ball Club. It's awesome to say that. George Kirby only takes 99 pitches to almost get through 8 innings, so he was in great shape on the pitch count. Was challenging these hitters, to the tune. I mean, he got hit for 7 hits. A lot of them were pretty light hits, though. 7 hard hits on 99 pitches, not terrible, not great. That's about what you would expect from him. And only 6 strikeouts to get through just about 8 innings, 7 2/3. 7 hits, 2-run ball. When you're pitching about 8 innings of 2-run ball, like, your team is going to have a really good shot, especially when they're up and you can be, it's like, okay, we can let some fly balls go, right? We can kind of just coast through this game. And obviously there's nobody who's coasting through an MLB game, but you know what I mean. You definitely pitching with a lead, have a little bit of a different approach than if you were pitching with, a deficit or with a close game. And then he walks one, which is only Yordan Alvarez at the very end, where it looks like he's getting taken out. Dan Wilson comes out to talk to him with 2 outs in the 8th inning. The crowd gives him a standing O, thinks he's coming out, but they agree that he's going to stay out there and face Yordan Alvarez, not put Graves Spire into this game. And he ends up walking him on 4 pitches. Not something he wanted to do. He hates doing that, obviously, but it was the right decision. Should you throw something in the zone to Yordan when you've got 2 guys on base, potentially make this game a whole lot closer? No, you should just, let him on base. That is what the analytics would say. That's what conventional wisdom would say. That's the way that you play baseball situationally. Matt Brash comes in as the fireman, allows a hard hit, but gets that last out in the 8th inning on 4 pitches. To Carlos Correa, I believe. I think it was Paredes. Yeah, it was Paredes. I can look right here. Obviously, I've got it right in front of me. But then you got Cole Wilcox, who comes in 16 pitches, takes care of the 9th inning, walks 1, doesn't strike anybody out, but in 3 hard hits. So not the best outing for Cole Wilcox, stats wise or underlying numbers wise, but definitely. He's got some nasty stuff, and he's not an easy guy to hit. He's keeping guys off balance. Mike Burrows comes out, and he gets the Astros 6 innings, which was probably the most valuable thing they could have asked for. They're so depleted in pitching. That's the reason that they've actually scored the most runs in the league at 95, but they've allowed the most runs in the league as well. It's in the hundreds. So it's because their pitching is so banged up. Tatsuya Mai and Jeremy Pena, but Tatsuya Mai went on the injury list as well today. They're just so desperate for some length in the pitching department. So Mike Burrows, and then JP France gets them 2 innings. They were able to save most of their bullpen today. That's the biggest blessing the Astros could ask for. And did allow 9 hard hits on 98 pitches, got lit up for 6 runs, 11 hits. Only walked once. The Mariners actually only walked once, but only struck out 3 times. They were swinging earlier than you'd expect, and not too many pitches thrown by either team in this game. A getaway day, but both these teams wanted to get this thing done with their bats and not worry about a long, grueling game. If it was closer closer than 3 runs for any of it, right, you might have seen a little more aggressiveness or conservativeness in the the pitching department, but it was really like, okay, let's get through this game from both teams. It felt like the average allowed, you can see 219 by Seattle, 351 by the Astros. And Houston won both of their ABS challenges, but whatever. Anyway, Josh Naylor. You tell me Josh Naylor is back, I'll tell you he never left. He's still the same player he was. Obviously, there was talk of he was a free agent, and will the Mariners re-sign him? Will he leave? They worked out a deal super quickly. They knew this was a good fit, and just a couple weeks into the season, 15 games, 16 games into the season, didn't prove that it was a bad fit at all. It was just kind of bubbling under the surface. He was exactly who he was before. He swings early in the count. He is one of the biggest early count mashers in the MLB, if not the biggest. And you see today, he faces a Mariners low 8 pitches, but they throw 5 pitches in the zone to him, and these 2 four-seam fastballs, these red ones right here, he demolishes. Those were his 2 homers. The other ones, the cutters, he fouls them off a little bit. Fouls I think 2 pitches off, which ends up being caught in foul territory, and popping them up and stuff. But you see, he's totally fine. He's exactly who he was. Living in the zone against Josh Naylor, I don't expect teams to do it. I expect he's going to be a guy who's going to have to walk a lot on this, in this upcoming stretch against San Diego. This next weekend we're playing Texas here, and then against the A's. I expect, especially so, San Diego's pitching is also banged up. Just lost Nick Pivetta. I expect them to be super conservative against Josh Naylor, not throwing much in the zone at all, especially not forcing fastballs, because he did his damage on both of his big damages were on those. As you can see right there, the homers, and then with the A's, their pitching staff being, not the highlight of their team, they're not going to want to lose the game to Josh Naylor. They're going to probably walk him. So my goal for Josh Naylor in this upcoming, say it's a 8-game stretch into the next off day, this Tuesday through next Wednesday, I want to see Josh Naylor walk 15% of the time. That is a really large number. Almost nobody in the MLB is ever going to walk 15% of the time over the course of a full season. But in this 8-game stretch, I expect a whole lot of out-of-the-zone pitches. He's doing the damage on stuff in the zone right now. So I think it would be beneficial if we can say, can we just, have you get on base all the time, raise that OPS up while you do it. And, you do get some stuff in the zone, right? Don't say anything. I'm not saying anything about what's in the zone. I'm saying when walk 15% of the time. I think that's a great goal for Josh Naylor. And yeah, he only whiffs once, but on just 8 pitches. So, it is what it is. He's going to whiff sometimes. He's going to fly out. He's going to look a little bit ugly. But all the underlying numbers actually love him too. His expected batting average is way up there. His expected slug. He's been hitting the ball really, really hard. He has some of the most hard hits in baseball without as many hits, and it just normalized today to begin the week. Then we're going to look at Mike Burrows. He was missing today quite a bit. I don't know if it's because he was trying to be overly conservative once the Astros were down, or because he was he threw a whole lot of these four-seam fastballs in the zone early, and then he said, let me get out of there a little bit. He definitely kept them up high once the damage was, but the damage was kind of already done. It's I don't see him. I think he's still searching. I think his four seam, when he throws it way up here, he's getting cut on it and stuff. But Josh Naylor obviously made it a bad line before he really had a chance to adapt. A whole lot of sliders, a healthy dose of these cutters as well, or these changeups. Sorry, didn't throw the cutter at all today. Just relying on that four seam, trying to cut. He did throw some sinkers, some curveballs, but nothing in the zone. He pitched like he was scared of the Mariners' offense, and he pitched like his team really needed him to get length. He did get 17 swinging strikes on 98 pitches, so interested to see what the pitching analysts say about this one, like pitcher lists and stuff, because it was, by stringing strikes, a good start. By everything else, right? By the actual numbers, not so good. And then average exit velocity at 86.5. You tell me a guy's going to have that swinging strike rate and that average exit velocity, I'll tell you that he's probably having a good start. Plus doesn't go over 20 pitches in an inning. The Mariners just mashed him today. And that's really the story of the game, obviously. But I mean, he wasn't getting a whole lot of called strikes. 11 on 98 pitches, not quite as many as you'd like. A whole lot of swings. So the Mariners were hacking away, especially once they'd already done the damage and they saw the four seam is getting in the middle of the zone. They kind of wanted to replicate what Josh Naylor was doing. That tells me, and I could be wrong about some of this stuff. This is hypotheses based on the data in front of me. The 42% in the zone, so he actually wasn't living in the zone much overall by the end of the game. But and let's see, so he bumps that four seam usage down as he gets through the order each time. He bumps the usage of the changeup up a whole lot, and that changeup was really working. In person, watching this game, the changeup definitely seemed like his best pitch. He gets 9 swinging strikes on 34 of them. The slider 5 swinging strikes on 21 of them. The four seam none, and the sinker 1. He is a breaking ball master. That changeup and that slider are the tools that he definitely has at his disposal. The sinker. What I think is that this guy's going to be good at some point this year. He reminds me of Lucas Giolito last year. Had a similar thing with a changeup and another breaking ball, and the fastball just wasn't there, and it wasn't able to. And those changeup and the other thing was getting a whole lot of whiffs, but the fastballs weren't enough to play off of. And then once he got hot, like heading like mid-May near the summer, he took off, and he was an awesome arm the rest of the season, especially through the summer. He was extremely hot for the Red Sox. Speaking of Lucas Giolito, I think the Astros should call him up. I would not be surprised to see the Astros, the Cubs, the Padres all had starting pitching injuries early in that order. Call up Lucas Giolito, who's still a free agent, but who still probably has something to offer an MLB team, unless they have something in the underlying numbers that I don't. Yeah, Mike Burrows. So there's a lot good under the hood. It's just that he got mashed in a couple of those pitches in the plate. Every single time he threw something in the middle of the plate. Yeah, you could say he got unlucky, but also the Mariners' offense just was due to normalize, especially no more than Josh Naylor. So George Kirby ends up throwing these 6 different pitches. I liked that he was emphasizing the cutter more today. That was something that I was really happy about. He mains the slider, and he keeps that thing all over the place. He's throwing that to both sides of the plate. The sinker, did he keep it inside on the right-handed batters? Only 5 times. I would like to see way more than that. And I'd like to see that sinker way up here, consistently, than the slider way down here consistently. I think that would be a recipe for success. These things are going to start out in the middle of the plate. One's going to go up, one's going to go down. I think there's going to be a whole lot of swing and miss if he does that. But I also would prefer his arm slot to be a little lower, where it's back in the 30s, in like the 36 range. Back last year when he had his arm slot down after the injury, man, he was getting so many strikeouts, and that's why he was my Cy Young pick. But if he's this dependable, he can still challenge for an all-star nod, maybe even at the end of the season, get into the conversation for an award like that if everything goes to plan. The knuckle curve, right? He's kind of experimenting with that. Yeah, not throwing too many of them, but the slider was his main pitch today. Had a lot of success with that. The four seam, keeping it up there, and he's getting some cut on it. I mean, his fastball's always been kind of a cut horizontally type of fastball. So go look at the player breakdown. 12 swing strikes on 99 pitches. That's great. That's A-OK. That is a very good amount. And I mean, overall 69 strikes on 99 pitches. That's great. If you're getting 2/3 of your pitches for strikes, you love it. The slider, right? Let's see how many on the slider. 4, and then 6 on the four seam fastball. That thing's horizontal movement. It's 9 inches, it says, but it looks like it has as much bite as Emerson Hancock, even though the vertical break is pretty average, that 13, 14, that horizontal break, that bite on it is nice. Then the cutter, he works in 5 times, 2 lefties, makes sense. The cutter is, so the sinker is something you want to throw to opposite side, or to same-sided hitters who don't have the advantage against you at the plate. To get them out. Sinker is something you want to throw to same-sided batters, so you see he uses it more against the righties as a righty himself. then the four seam and the cutter are pitches you want to use to get opposite sided hitters out who have the advantage against you. So a lefty versus a righty. But I like the way that he was working in the cutter in this. I think it's a weapon for him going forward. Not too many change-ups, but he was really working with the slider and the four seam. And that slider four seam combo is awesome. I want the sinker more, especially to the right-handed batters. 23% is a good amount, but I'd like it to get into the 30s, if not even more. I would like to see sinker slider be his combo to righties, and get inside with both of them. They start out in the plate, and even the four seam has similar movement to the sinker, if I'm not mistaken. Doesn't move as much horizontally as the four seam, but it moves so much horizontally. Those two pitches can kind of play off each other, and you see it's not a complete split for him between one side of the plate. Against lefties, he really just went for the whole lot more breaking balls, a whole lot more of the sliders, a whole bunch of knuckle curves, as many as he did throw four seams, and then working in the cutter and the sinker. So George Kirby's got a whole arsenal. It's very interesting. I am kind of happy that he has the cutter instead of using that splitter, which we just use a couple times a game, just a very single digit percentage to lefties. I think I prefer this cutter. I think it plays off the other fastball as well. Even though it's like 10-2 on the break, I don't know, something about it is interesting to me. And then the average EV keeps it in order, 89.5. But you watch the game, he's getting all those outs through the air, through the ground. And look at those pitch counts: under 10 in 9 or less in 3 different innings, under 17 in every single inning, 2 17s, a 14, a 12, or 2 17s, 2 14s, a 12, 2 9s, and a 7. Great stuff. Through the order, each time, bumps up that slider usage the second time, then leans off of it in the third time. The four seam, he's on it that first time. That's his main pitch going through the first time through the order. Then he really backs off of it, to main the slider, and then he comes back to it in the third time. The sinker, he kind of tails off as he goes. The knuckle curve, more in the middle, but just auxiliary kind of. The cutter, as he gets further into the game, he uses more, and then the changeup he pulls out of his bag later in the game. So like to see that. Then that's pretty much going to do it. Both starters got to the fourth time through the order to some extent. They both got a little bit into that. So that's cool to see. A whole lot of length from both starters. This was a good game overall. A whole lot of offense, a whole lot of good pitching. Not as many strikeouts as you'd expect. Mariners striking out 3 times. That's the low on the year. And the fact that they were striking out 3 times while swinging so much, to me, shows that the offense is definitely rounding into form. This team is absolutely back, but also it's like they never really left. They went through a little bit of a rough patch. We go compare this to some of the stats from that Texas series last week. The barrel rate just wasn't, they didn't have 3 barrels in those games. They didn't have any. They weren't, just weren't getting those hits to fall. And then you come back to a worse offensive environment in Seattle, and you put up all these huge, gaudy run totals. After that Texas series, we were disheveled. And you come look at 9 runs and then 9 runs, 8 runs, 6 runs, 6 runs. That's a total of what? Amazing math, right? 12 plus 17, 29 runs in that 4-game stretch. So pretty good. This offense is pretty good. 6 point something runs every game right now. Anyway, 6.5 runs per game this series is what it ends up being. Is that right? No, it should be more than that. I'm definitely wrong. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for today. The thing I want to ask you guys, first of all, what do you like here in terms of the analysis? What do you want to see more of? But also, hard hit wise, what can we call a game where everybody in the Mariners lineup has a hard hit? I would like to hear that from you guys. Let me know. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the pregame and the postgame from San Diego. Remember, as long as you go 1-0, stay stoic, give all glory to God, you can't lose. And the Mariners, I gotta sing the Kodak Black song. Every time we get the 4-game sweep, I'm gonna sing it. Sliding with that mop stick like a janitor. Catch one of these AL West teams. I would hit you and your manager. I would pitch you and your manager, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, I'm sure that made everybody cringe and dislike the video. It's all good. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Go Ams.